We're going to talk a little bit about something that we're pretty proud of here in the Battle Creek area, the Battle Creek Public Schools STEM Innovation Center, getting ready for its first ever school season next fall. And we have the principal of the Battle Creek STEM Innovation Center, Deb Evans, back with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Great to have you back. And yeah, we're getting down there. People need to register in the next, 2 or 3 weeks or something?
Yeah, there are 23 days left in our open application window.
23 days. We'll have to put the countdown with our, we do a countdown for opening day for baseball. So we'll just have to amend that, 18 days till opening day, 23 days until the deadline for the STEM Innovation Center. I think a lot of people have heard an awful lot about this here in our community, but it won't hurt to kind of tell them again in case they haven't. What are we talking about when we talk about the STEM Innovation Center?
So Battle Creek Public Schools has embarked on this new adventure of considering middle school in a different way. And so in the fall, we will open a new STEM integrated program that will service 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And so when we talk about integrated STEM, we talk about curriculum that is embedded in the thinking of problem solving to look at science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and for us, embedding our English language studies and our social studies all inside a lens of what's the problem, what's the opportunity, and how can I use an engineering mindset to solve that problem or answer that question. So we'll be doing that. We'll be providing that kind of an education for middle schoolers in an all-day-long program.
And we need it. We need to have minds that are going to come up with new stuff. And that's the way it gets done. And, working at McDonald's, that's good, but that's not going to change the world.
Right. And, the jobs that our young people are going to be entering into haven't even been envisioned yet. That,
Sure.
If you think about that,
right.
The way that we are moving as an industry, as a nation, as a global entity, this thinking around innovation, creativity, using an engineering design of being able to look at a problem, analyze a problem, create a solution, test that solution, and then refine it and learn from our failures is really the mindset that we're trying to create.
Last time we talked to you about this, you were kind of do a little workshop trial day to invite 5th graders and their parents to come and actually kind of go through the motions of what it would be like a day in the classroom and in the STEM Innovation Center. How did that go?
What great. We had great participation, and you're right. The philosophy is it's a doing school, right? And so we felt the best way to show children and parents what it might look like to have a project-based learning problem that was a team-based collaborative effort was to actually immerse children in that environment. So they got a chance to solve a problem that required them to build a car that moved using air. And they had just some limited supplies and they were on a time limit. And they had to work with a group of people that they had never met. And they had to create a vehicle that would actually move with wind. So that was the challenge.
Wow. And so then I can just see the parents sitting there watching and seeing how their kid might respond and act in that particular environment. Do you think some of them saw some things that they hadn't seen before?
They did. And it was great for us because what's important about this school, there isn't really, you're not testing into the school. There's no aptitude test. This really is a blind application. So what we really are wanting parents to and guardians to have is a snapshot of what kind of a child or what kind of a learning experience would their child have and would my child flourish there. So some things that we saw happen, parents were surprised. There were some parents who got to see their child struggle for the first time, and that was interesting for them. We had parents who got to see child who maybe was oftentimes a leader kind of have to work with a group in a different way. And I don't think without exception, there was not a parent there that was not really engaged and pleased by what they saw happen. For instance, total engagement. I never had a team quit. We had them going to the drawing board and failing and coming back, and they were just so invested in finishing the task and accomplishing it. and the fact that they got to see their children really celebrate, I did that. No one told me how to do it. No one gave me instructions how to do it. I didn't have rules to follow. I had to figure it out myself, and gosh, I did it. And so for the parents, I think it was just really an aha moment.
Now, how many students, and we're starting it out with just one grade this next fall, the 5th grade. It'll expand, what, to the whole middle school?
Yes. Opening with 6th grade year 1, adding 7th grade year 2, adding 8th grade year 3. So by the opening of our 4th year, we'll be a fully 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school. First year, 60 students, 6th graders is what we're starting with.
Okay, 60 students. And where is this going to be?
So we will be physically located in the 1100 wing of the Battle Creek Central High School, in the McQuiston wing. It is a first level wing of the building that kind of has its own separate space just naturally by facilities, but also has a separate entrance. It's fully technology wired for us for what we need to do with the kind of things we need to do. We have a full chem lab. We have a full biology lab. We'll be building an outdoor lab. We have our own space there. So
now, yeah, traditionally, a lot of times when you have special programs in schools, especially like for math, science, or perhaps auto shop or other things, students will kind of venture out from their normal school place and go to this area for a allotted time each day or maybe a week, and then go back. Now, that's not what this is.
no, this is a school, right? So your child will attend, we'll actually start August 20th. We have an intensive orientation that begins on the 20th of August, and we will go through the full school year, normal school year. Your child will come every day, Monday through Friday. Cool thing about our program is that we'll have what we would call an AB schedule, so that it will feel a lot more like a collegiate setting in terms of the day. And one day a week, we will actually be at the Outdoor Educational Center in the field. And so part of that schedule will be an A day, a B day, field day, A day, B day, field day, year round.
Huh?
Sorry, let me correct myself. Not year round. Sorry, that was me wishfully thinking.
Yeah.
I'll take that back. They do get summers off. I'm going to give them the summer off. Sorry.
At least so far. And when you say Outdoor Education Center, you're talking about Clear Lake up near Dowling?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great facility that the Battle Creek Public Schools owns, and it'd be great to see that used even more.
We do. And so year 1 for our 6th graders, we know that teaming, collaboration, risk-taking, being able to ask really good questions are what we want our 6th graders to do. And guess what? That's not what we normally teach them to do. So we are really focused at the beginning of our semester on building those skills. So at the Outdoor Educational Center, we have a full menu of collaboration, teaming, risk-taking activities that are built into their programs. We're going to tap into that. And then we also have the ability to do our PE outside. So our physical education is going to be outside. We have access to the entire facility, so we can do our research. We can design, say, we did cars. We could design a bridge and then take it out to the center and actually do a prototype and see if it actually works. Test it against wind, test it against tension, test it, and just really collect data, come back to the drawing board and modify. So it's going to be our testing ground.
One of the things I like about this, Deb, is my recollection of school was that, I learned an awful lot in elementary school, and then not so much in junior high. It was kind of a either review of what had been learned or get ready for high school kind of a thing. And it seems like this is a way to say, okay, we're going to take these middle years and we're going to really do something different with them that will affect the mindset of all of our students.
So we know that attention and awareness are prerequisites for learning. You have to be attentive, aware, and engaged, right? We also know that middle school years are the most curious years. They are. They enter into middle school super curious. They have all kinds of questions. But we also know that about 70% of kids leave middle school apathetic, no longer interested. They don't understand how it applies. They question how it applies. I had a great conversation with a young lady last night, 5th grader, and I asked her what she liked about school, her current school. And she said, I really like to read. Why? Because I get to choose what I read, the genre. I said, so what don't you like about school? She goes, I don't really get to answer the questions that I'm interested in knowing about.
Yeah.
And that really sums it up, because in this environment that we've created, the students, we'll set the framework for them. We're going to give them a theme, a topic. We're going to give them some framing, but they really are going to look at the content through a question that interests them. And that's the key, because they do have questions, they do have ideas, and we need to tap into that to engage them.
Talking about the STEM Innovation Center, it's through the Battle Creek Public Schools, and Deb Evans is the principal. And but you don't have to be in the Battle Creek Public School District to apply, right?
No, this is a public school choice program. Anyone can apply. You are going to need to be able to transport your child to and from school. We're not providing transportation in the first year, but anyone can apply.
You know, proponents of school choice have always said, you know, that parents should be, no matter where they live, should be able to choose the programs or the schools that they want to send their students to. And frankly, Battle Creek public schools have kind of been on the short end of that a little bit in recent years. And I think this is just what proponents envision with the school choice. It's like, all right, come up with something different and compete. And I think that's what we're doing here with this program. I'll bet you there are people in outlying schools that are raising an eyebrow saying, this thing is pretty interesting.
Yeah, we have interest from across the county. And I think it's just important to remember that children are different, right? And so the needs and their educational needs can be different. And what we recognize at Battle Creek Public Schools is that there is a need for us to create engaging, rigorous, and innovative solutions to education and provide choice for our families. And so the STEM Innovation Center is just one of those many new choices.
What's a day going to be like? You know, kid goes to school and they get there. How many classrooms are there going to be? And, you know, for these 60 students in the 6th grade, and how many teachers, and, you know, what will they do when?
So the classroom is a little bit of a question, because the way that we're designing the building, very similar to what you would want to do in a highly innovative setting. The rooms are designed for specific activities, so students aren't necessarily assigned to a classroom.
Okay.
The room, by design, the building is being designed as a functional space. So we have a flex learning pod, for instance, where our 6th graders will be able to do all kinds of different sort of teaming work around STEM integrated learning. We, of course, have our chemistry lab and our biology lab, where a team would go into that lab if they were running a test and actually needed some sort of equipment, or they needed a just-in-time learning experience. We'll have a Socratic area where students can get that traditional, very focused, direct instruction. And then we have a collaboration room that really by design is a high-tech space for students to collaborate and use technology to do research. And so it's sort of around spaces. Typical day, students will come in. We have our 60 6th graders will be in teams. We're being split in mirrored teams of 30, and inside that, teams of 4. So we've had about 15 teams. We'll have a stand-up plan-up every morning that kind of covers where we left off the day before, what needs to happen today. We have some concentrated core instructional time built first thing in the morning. Brain works best in the morning, by the way. I know it doesn't feel that way right now with time change, but it really does. So some concentrated core instruction that's really targeted to either something that came out of the day before that they need, or something that they're going to be doing that we're prepping them for. 90 minutes of STEM integration time, some pretty cool engineering electives during lunch, another concentrated core instructional time, getting ready for the afternoon, 75 minutes of engineering design, and then an elective at the end of the day. And then the next day, different core instruction, same block of STEM and engineering time, and then we would rotate that process. And then we're in the field midweek, because what we've been doing in the design room, we need to get out to the field and either test that or to do some research around that design.
What do the teachers think about this? Are they like, hey, I want to jump into this, or are they like, boy, I don't know if this is different?
It's a special kind of mindset, I think, when you think about project-based learning and student-led inquiry. I should say this. Nationally, the next generation science standards are really the model for learning, because it really takes students through this reflective inquiry process. So teachers who have embraced that mindset are really great fits. Also, teachers who understand how project-based learning and student-led inquiry really takes the student in places that they're not used to going is different. So you're right, a teacher in this setting, and we have One position we are still filling. We're still recruiting for this one final role that we have, but we have brought on most of our teaching staff for this first year. They're scared and excited at the same time. The exciting part is, oh my gosh, this is what I've always wanted to do. I know this is going to work. I know this is going to be powerful. I know this is the way to teach the curriculum. The scary part is we have no idea where this student's going to want to go. We don't know what questions they're going to ask. So teachers aren't going to have all the answers. And that's a space that's kind of scary because here's the thing, Tim, that I think is super important. And this is maybe what fuels everything for me. We're building capacity, not dependency. That's it. So in a dependency educational system, I give you what you need. I tell you what questions to answer. I tell you where your resources are. I give you some notes. I feed you along the way, and I build this dependency of you on me as the facilitator of education. If I build capacity, I teach you how to ask questions. I teach you how to analyze things. I teach you how to figure out how to find resources when no one around you knows where they are. I teach you how to step back and analyze your own work and consider how what you did wrong is informing what you need to do right. That's a completely different mindset. That's a completely different adult.
Wow, fascinating. We're going to take applications for the STEM Innovation Center for, as you said, another 23 days. And then how, you'll have to pare that down. If you get more than 60, you'll have to choose. So I'm thinking maybe I could just write you a check for my nephew, because that seems to be what people do these days. But no, you're shaking your head. No.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So no, unfortunately, we're not looking for made-up athletic credentials. That's not how you get in.
He's a really good rower and lacrosse player.
And we don't have a row team, although apparently that didn't matter either. Right?
Right.
Okay, so here's how it really works. So we've joked about that. It really is a blind process for us. We are using a product that allows us to be accessible. Parents can access this online application from their phone, from any browser, and we ask for a name, an address, the student's name, and the student's birth date. We're doing the only verifications we're doing is the birth date match the grade, right? Okay. So we want to make sure the age is right. Because remember, we're also using this for our Fremont International Academy. So we have other children also applying, but specifically for STEM, we're going to validate that the address is correct. The system will do that, and that prompts the parent. And beyond that, they get an application number, and on the 12th of April, we'll close the application window on the 5th, gives us a chance to finish our verification, and then we will run a lottery. And so what will happen is on the 12th, the system will generate a list of 60 names. 60 children's families will get an invitation to attend. They can either accept the invitation or decline it. If they accept, then they finish the enrollment paperwork and we get them going. If they decline, somebody on the wait list who's already primed in this lottery gets an immediate notice and an invitation. And we'll go through that process until we've filled the 60 seats.
Where can we apply?
So you can go to Battle Creek Public Schools website and just navigate to the middle school, and there's an application button there. You can also apply on Facebook. There's a button there on our page. I believe we have an ad in the shopper this weekend, next week, that has the information, and it really is pretty simple. It's battlecreekpublicschools.schoolmint.net, and call me, or you can contact anybody at any of the schools or admin, and they can also help.
All right. Deb Evans, thanks a lot. Sounds very exciting.